Good morning. Um, I hope that my fussing around with the camera was not all too visible, and I'll see after even myself, I'll see it in about 8 to 10 hours. This is going to be a lengthy show. We're going to be making the same suit as yesterday. Yesterday, we made a beautiful tweed suit out of the same material, excuse me, out of the same pattern, which is this Vintage Simplicity 4510, and we're making this exact pattern. So I cut the patterns exactly like the it says. So it's going to be lined. I already have the pieces here. And yesterday we did it with the tweed material. We didn't line it because it was already bulky material, and I knew it would be bulky, especially for these little darts in the front, as you see here. The pattern calls out for the darts here, which is really nice. They they fall right here in the middle, just above the bust, and the back is a wraparound back with the sleeve where we connect it. And I'm also going to be using the pattern, but I adjusted it slightly. And what I did is I I did notice that I'm running out and I don't have many solid colors or anything suitable for a suit. I do have a lot of mod vintage material, so this is the the last day of suit starting tomorrow. I'm going to be working on my Barbie vintage on the Avenue suit. So this is what I've been doing. I've been testing the pattern. On the Avenue looks slightly like this, but I just wanted to see how this one looks. And I realized On the Avenue has like this flare uh, to the top. And of course, it has the holes in the middle between the hem, the suit bottom hem, and the where the waist goes. So this is the pattern right here. It is a larger flare skirt, and I'm running out of material. So this is what the pattern calls out for. And this is what I had. So the material was already on the fold, so I chose the fold, but I didn't have that much, as you can see from one side. I'm ending right there. So what I did is I went ahead and moved the pattern, and it doesn't matter how much you use as long as you get the waist. As long as you get the exact size of the waist, it doesn't matter if you start here for the full skirt, if you start here, or even here. That all that means is that you're going to have a smaller flare or a tighter skirt. And it's not a pencil or a wiggle skirt because it goes out. So let's get started. Just wanted to show that to you. If you're running out of material, like I am, that is something that you can do. Don't worry, because you always have the size between where you're going to be sewing. So as we saw yesterday, this pattern is made for you to do it without it being lined. So with that being said, what I did a little bit of adjustment today, I'm going to put it here. What I did is I folded this extra material that you saw me use yesterday. This extra material is for you to prepare and then fold. Since I'm using a lined suit today, I used just a little bit over the fold area, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it with the line, so that it being lined is going to give us plenty of room. Plus, it folds over in the front. And here is our back. So I'm going to keep it pinned together until I'm ready to use it because we're going to do the darts. And what I'm doing right now is I am making the stitch a little bit tighter. And what I wanted to do today, since we're going to have this lined up, is today I'm going to pencil in where the dart goes, where the line is, just ever so slightly, as you can see here. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. And this is cotton, so it really does not matter where we're doing this. Always make sure if you're going to be doing this, I don't use pen because pen runs and you do not want to have any going to your doll. So I always remember that. So that is a little bit. So this is the shinier side, but for um for all case and purpose, I will turn it around. It's this is lining. It really doesn't matter, but I do see a little bit of the shine, and I'm going to make a mental note to do the same for the other. So right now what we're doing is preparing our darts, and since I'm doing this because we're lining it and we want to make sure that the darts are equal to the top layer and the bottom layer, because no matter if it's lining and it's a very thin material, you're still adding a material and a little bit more uh, to your little Barbie suit or little Barbie clothing. I always say little because I'm starting to make clothes for larger dolls, and so I have that in my head. So here's one, and we're going to do the other. I can see I can see the dart from the dart pin from the pattern because it is lining. Very, very thin. So I'm going to do the same for the other. And it does not matter what side I'm using here. So we're going to get started. And since we did this yesterday, this should go a little bit faster, but we are lining it. We're actually, it's like we're making two suits because we're going to be sewing and preparing two parts. So here's the fold, like I was mentioning to you earlier. And I will go for all our new viewers now and in the future that are going to be seeing this video. I'm going to go over the darts and show you here. This is our back. This is a tricky pattern. So, and this is our front. What I did today is, since I'm lining it, I took some of the fold out, and because I'm running out of fabric, so it was okay to do that, and better. Otherwise, we would have a huge connection in the front. And I'll show you that at the end. Normally what I do is I connect the darts and I do the fold and then I move it. So since I did the little lining here and I did it so that both the top and the bottom will match. This is the front. This is the sleeve, and this is where we're going to be connecting this part. This is the back. The pattern calls for it to be placed on fold. We're going to be doing the darts over here, and I cut it exactly today how it calls out for. So when I do the fold, and I'm going to do the fold without the pattern, you're going to see where I need to end because I did the little line, and where to start, because when we fold it, we have that little V connection in here. Okay, so since this is the back here, This is the sleeve. So we're going to connect the top and the bottom, the lining over here. And when we fold it, excuse me, this is going to be our sleeve. So just wanting to give you a visual. So first of all, we're going to start with the sewing of the darts. And we have um, several pieces to go. So I'm going to move the skirt, and this is the skirt. And what I did here is it does not call out for it, but I went ahead and made this part. I pre-sewed it. And what I'm going to do is sew it with, let's call the wrong sides together. Okay. And let's put this in the middle so that we know where the middle is. And then the reason why I went ahead and sewed it is that so that when I have it sewed, I'm going to sew it like this. I can easily turn it around, and we're going to have a finished look in the back, and I can hand sew it. So that is what we're going to be doing. Just giving you a preview, and it is lengthy, but we're dealing with a kind of tricky material and a suit. So don't be afraid of sewing a suit, especially if you're comfortable sewing dresses or skirts. So here I did my fold, and see how perfectly it aligns. And here is our little dart pin that I did, indication of where to start. So I'm looking at it, and I'm going to uh, do a little back and forward here to hold it into place. And let me see. I'm adjusting it to make sure we have a good, oh, there goes my camera. Let me adjust it a little bit. I'm really new at everything that I have here. So I forget what little knob is for what. All right, so let's get started. All right, there's one piece. And when you do one piece, you always want to make sure that you're getting the fabric in the opposite direction. And I know it's opposite because I did the line, but let's do it for all case and purposes. This is one side and this is the other. So we're going to fold it this way. And I'm going to use the pin because you don't want any distractions. I'm holding the pin there, and I'm going to start sewing from here. And because that's where your foot is anyways, so it's a good indication of where to start if you didn't know where to start. All right, my fabric folded a little bit. And after I'm done, I will press it, but I will do that not live. When I list it, I will be putting that live. And I will start something new. I'm going to do it last week of 2022, is that I'm going to start a listing for everything that I sew, whether it be Barbie, Francie, or Skipper. So I'm going to have one Barbie week, I'm going to have one Francie week, and I'm going to have one Skipper week. And I'm going to be selling each item according to what they are. This week, I'm making suits. So for all case and purposes, they will be priced. So they're going to be pre-sold pieces. So you don't know what you're going to be getting. So basically, it's a grab bag, and I'm going to be selling them at a discounted price. If they don't get sold, within that week, then I'm going to start listing individually. So I'll make a separate listing, and that's the reason why I have not shared what I'm sewing daily, so that I can do one full video and explaining what I will be doing. So it's beyond a plan. So I will be doing that. And if it doesn't sell, like I mentioned, I will be listing them separately at a reasonable price. But if you buy it beforehand and it is a grab bag, the items that I will be sewing they will be pre-sold. Okay, so I'm doing the folding with my little self-advertisement there. So, so for every case and purpose, the pricing will be different. Suits will, of course, be going for slightly higher. But I'll go ahead and set the pricing. So if it gets to a point where they get pre-sold, then I'll be advertising and selling the other lot. So here is the back. We have the front. So we're going to put them together. I'm going to pin them so so they don't get sidetracked. And we're going to start with the back. This is a little bit better because it is cotton and it is a thicker fabric, so it's much easier to work with. So like I mentioned, this should go a little bit faster because my eyes are ready for this. Yesterday I did a double take and I showed the instructions live to show what we needed to do. So the first time is harder, and I am doing it since I have sewn for adults and children. I'm used to seeing your typical sizes and patterns, and this is something different. This is almost like the fancy wrap around blouse. So here is our back, and it looks kind of bulky, but after I iron it, it's going to ease up. Okay, so there we have it. When we're going to be sewing the back, here's a mental note. You can start, excuse, I got caught. You can start and sew over here because we're going to be taking more than we need. So we're going to be sewing like this and go deep because this is going to be the back of the neck. You don't want this to be crouched up on Barbie like a turtleneck. So we're going to be going right around here, which is, I'm going to have my ruler, which is about 1/2 inch. So we're going to be going about around 1/2 inch. So I am looking to see what I'm going to do now is connect the fabric. Oh no, we still need the other pieces. I had them here to the side. Oh, and I'm dropping stuff. So I'm going to move my top to the side here. And we are sewing where we did the pencil holder, the pencil mark. We're going to be sewing here as if this is the inside part. So right here is our dart. And I'm going to sew this part here. There's our little dart right there. We're right in line. All right, so here are our front pieces for our suit. I'm going to fold it. Here's one side, and here is our other side, right here. So now we're going to connect it. So this is where the connection is going to go. So let's start today by joining it like so. Okay, this is the sleeve, and I have it in the wrong side. All right, here we go. This is our sleeve. So we have both sides there. And I'm going to connect the other side. And you're going to be connecting where we have this little swirl or this little curve, and connect it right there. And there is our beginning. And you might want to adjust it where the darts are, because I could have taken a little bit less or not, and the fabric does move. So we want to make sure that we have a good connection there. This is where I said, oh, this is what I dropped. I dropped my little indicator here. This is where I said that I'm going to be taking more than enough. Oh my goodness, I'm just popping things everywhere. I'm going to make a little easement here. And there we go. We're going to connect the other side here. And I will put a pin here to connect, to hold it down. And I am putting the folds this way. I could do it this way too, but it'll be, I'll do it for this side. You can also cut those darts if you're accustomed to snipping them. And I am following here. Okay, that's mighty close there. So here we go. Here is our suit. So what I'm going to do now is do the lining. So normally we would be done, but let's hope that this is quick and easy. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. You connect away from the fuss, away from the darts area. And I'm going to connect it in because you really need to have that visual. Later you can turn around. You can do it the other way. But to me, this is the easiest way. And I'm going to connect the other side so that we can quickly go through this and start with our Barbie suit. Okay. It is light and it is moving, this material. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to remember I took a lot of room, and this is because my foot is smaller. It's more like almost like a zipper foot, but not. And I like it. In a little while, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee to wet my whistle. And why not? We're going to go all the way across. Remember, when you're sewing, you're the boss. So if something does not work out, you can always take it apart and start again. If you need time, if you get frustrated, because it does happen, just take some time off. I do it, and go back, because if you're doing it when you're frustrated or you don't get it or it's not turning out, it's you want your sewing to be enjoyable, and you want to be, at least in my way of thinking, when I'm doing something, I'm giving my good energy, my happy thoughts, and I do believe that goes a long way, because when somebody gets, hopefully, is what I'm hoping, when somebody gets something that I make, that they're also getting my happy energy, my good wishes. So it's just me. I'm cutting the darts here to lessen the bulk. Okay, so I went ahead and just cut a little bit over here. So now it's time to connect the pieces. So what are we going to do first when we're lining? Well, when we're lining, we're going to connect the sleeves, the hem of the sleeve. So that's this part here, and I'll connect it, and I'll show you the silhouette again. This is the back. I'm just going to hold it because we need to position, and we're turning around and taking that out, and this is the sleeve again. Okay, see how it connects over here? You want to make sure that it's connecting. So I'm going to put the pin over here, and this is where, when we fold it over, we're going to be connecting the front with the back. And this is just for a visual, but I'm going to hold this into place here. And I have my other pins over there, so I am going to need to cross over and get them. There was one that I here it is. I always have to keep a mental note of my pins, because I have my dog Lilu, and I'm going to say, more often than I wish do I see them on the floor, and I don't want her to get pricked. I do not want her to get pricked. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to reach over here and get a couple of pins in a little hat I have over here. All right, so there's a lot of placing over here. And look, I didn't even do it over here, or it fell. Anyways, that's okay. So this is the sleeve. This is the circle for the back, and this is the back. So I'm going to sew this here, and I'm going to sew it with the lining, because it's so light, it does move. So I'm going to be taking the exact ending of my sleeve because I do want it to be a little bit slightly longer, and they have to be the same so that can be the same on Barbie. So I'm going to take a little sip. I've been chatting the whole way, and I love doing this because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it. All right, that's one sleeve. Here's the front, here's the neck. And turning it over to this side. And if you're doing this, and if you sew, and when you put it together and you see a little bit of a bump within the fabric, it does happen because, like I mentioned, it does move. All right, so let's look at it this way. I sewed the sleeves. We can go ahead and sew on the front part, and then we will flip it over. And we're going to have the back open and the sides open to where we can flip it. So I am looking. I'm going to take this bulk out because look, it's very bulky. And this is all going to be on Barbie's neck. So I'm going to very carefully, I looked at it before I decided to cut, and very carefully will I cut over here. I can't tell you how many times I did, like example on the hem, how many times I cut and I accidentally cut into the finished product. So you really have to be careful. Make sure you're not getting fabric. And the same thing happens when you sew. So I looked at it. The darts are aligned, and you can see here. And remember when I said we're going to take enough fabric and sew like half an inch in? That's my pin there for that same reason. So I am I'm pulling my fabric over because I need it to be here, and I'm going to start sewing. And when you sew, and if you're going to be sewing in, you got to sew the same on the other side so that we have a matching connection when we put the Barbie um, front pieces together along the bust. So I'm doing this very carefully because I want to be sure that I'm having a very good circle and it not be crooked. I'm going to look at it from the other view, from the pink side of the fabric view, to make sure that we have a very good circumference here, or a very good circle. All right, it's trying to make sure that we are not, the fabric is not bulging there, so that's why I did that. So it's not gathered. All right, and this is, we're going to be doing the little test here. We're looking at it, and we're going to look at it in the back and see how it looks in the back. The circle looks good, even. And let's see if this is even or even enough. Okay, the ending is here. And the ending is here. So I'm going to go just slightly over here so it can be even with the other side. And all right, and I'm going to lift it right here. And now I'm going to sew the front. Oops. All right, I'm removing some loose okay. And I'm going to take this out. Now that I did that, I'm going to cut the little box here. I'm not going to cut over across because I don't want to inadvertently cut the connection here. Okay, that's where we're at right here. And now I'm going to cut the circle here in part. All right, so now I'm going to be doing the cutting and releasing the unnecessary, it is thick and I'm doing it slowly. And I have my finger on the bottom to make sure that part of the fabric from the back does not, for whatever reason, fold over and into the way of the scissors. So now I'm going to cut the other half. And you have to be very careful because you have two darts and it doesn't matter that one of them is lining. It is bulky, and with your scissors, and if you do it quick enough, the fabric can and the piece can bounce in your hand. I'm doing it very close here so we can have a very good ease here within the fabric. So I cut, and I sewed the front and I sewed the sleeves. So now we're going to turn it over. So this is what we did. We sewed the front, the back of the neck, and we sewed the sleeves together. So the sleeves are already going to be hemmed up. So now I'm going to turn it inside out, as you see here, so you can see it. And then, so you can have a visual of what we have. Okay, this is what we have. All right, and I did it just so that we can see it. So now, what do we want to do? Well, we need to connect the the suit. Okay, so this is our sleeve. How do we connect our suit? We need to take one piece so that we can go ahead and sew it. So to give you a visual, this is what we're looking at. We need to sew it like this, but we need to sew it in a way that we can fold. Um, we need to sew it in a way that we can um, fold it. And this is what I did. See what I did? I'm going to do it again. Okay. And you might, since this is recorded, you might want to take a different look. Okay. We are not going to sew it like this because then we can't turn it inside out. So I put my finger in the middle of the hem of the sleeve, and you need to tuck one side in. So I tuck one side in. What are we doing here? We want to be able to sew it this way. I put my finger in there, okay? So we're going to connect, or we're just going to hold, and from this is going to be the inside of the suit. So we're looking at the sewed part, the raw edges. And we're going to put a pin in here and continue to put a pin as we're folding over. So this is to lessen the confusion. We have our pieces together, and here is the connection of the fabric and the sleeve. So when you see that, you're going to know that you're doing the right connection here. And we're going to do the other side. So we're going to get to see this again. And we're going to connect the back. Okay, and I'm going to put a little pin here. And I'm going to go ahead to help me out and already do a little cut, about 1/4 of an inch, just slightly or less, just enough to have that little ease. And I'm going to do the same, because even though it's lining, it's not giving me an ease. So this is going to be very slight over here. So why don't we get started? We're going to sew the fabric part first. All right. And I'm going to do the other side. So we're going to see right here is our ease, or where I did the cutting of the ease. So I'm going to use that help of the easement to move it over, because we don't want to get any fabric in there. So we're going to use this moment of where the ease is to adjust the fabric. All right, so now we're going to help it by adjusting it and continuing the sewing. And I'm pulling and putting my finger here to make sure that there is no fabric underneath, because that happens all the time, especially with these little tight corners and tight gatherings or tight connections. So we're in the middle way, and I'm going to move the other part forward while keeping it straight. We already sewed this, so this is already done. And every little, about every inch, you need to adjust your fabric and get it into place. And that's what I'm doing here. I am folding it. Oops, I pulled my thread there. And I am keeping that pin in there because I need it. All right, so now we're in the finishing stages. I moved the pin. I'm adjusting the fabric here. And we are headed towards the other cut of the easement. And I needed that pin there and it got loose. So what I'm going to do now is connect it again because I need to have the pieces here together. So I don't have to focus on the bottom like I was right now. So I'm going to put it down, do 2 or 3 stitches, and then adjust it. And I adjust it, making sure that there was nothing there, no fabric in the back. So I'm keeping my finger on the fabric and I'm following through. So since my stitching is gathering a little bit, so I didn't do that big of an easement, and I didn't do it because it's a lining, and see how much it feathers away, how it feathers off. And here is our easement. Since we did the sewing, we can go ahead and make sure that we have the proper easement. Make it easy for Barbie. And there's this. So now we can turn it over, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But we could do it. Let me see here. We'll do it so that we can have ourselves a little treat. This is not going to interfere with the other side. So I'm putting my finger in here and I'm poking through, pushing through. And here is our fully lined suit, one side. See that? How awesome? And this is the part where I cut, and it's a little bit bulky, but not enough. So now let's get ready. I know some people are dreading it. So have one side done. We flip the others, which it's easier because you don't have any other material, any other parts to worry about or to guess, oh, is this the one? So I try to do the fold here, but sometimes when I'm sewing, it unfolds. So see, I'm putting it between both sides. So we're going to do the same. We're going to start with the bottom, and this time I'm going to double hold this. Put the pin in twice, because last time with all the wiggles, it got loose. And I'm going to, since I have it ready, I'm going to start with the side of the lining, and I'm going to cut it here because we need this help. And since I cut the other one in 3 different spots, I'll go ahead and do that here because this is going to help me a lot. And I'm going to put a pin in here because it's very important that we keep this in place and I'm going to double hold it there. It's a very tricky, thin fabric is very tricky. So we're gonna start with this first and get it over with, and then go on to the other side, which is the cotton. I have the tip of my pin there, so I'm being very careful. Okay, I'm going to move one pin and I'm about to move the other one. And we're in the easement phase where we're going to use that little help and adjust the fabric and move my pin. And notice that I'm holding it in the front and the back because we're in the phase of this lining. All right, and you can use each little connection or area, whatever is easier for you. Right now, I'm in the connection part of the sleeve of the fabric and the lining. So I use that as a mental note to adjust my fabric. So I'm in the easement again area where I did the clips, and we are ready to finish this off. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to do help out this suit by taking some of this away, making sure that there's enough help for it to move. And this part too. And we're going to turn it around. And this is what it looks like. Here's one part of the sleeve and they're connected at the hem. Okay, and I'm going to flip it over. This is what it looks like in the inside. And since we are going to be looking at it from the outside, I'm going to use my finger and just push through. And there it is. And this pattern, if you get this pattern, it's easier to start with because it's shorter sleeves. If you have longer sleeves, you have more to sew, and that's it. So here we go. All right, so we have the suit. So now what do? We want to have this sewn. So here is a little trick and a little hack. I'm going to sew it, and I'm going to stop in certain areas to show you how to do it. So I'm flipping, I'm protecting the sleeve. Okay, I'm tucking it in and I'm turning it around. I'm connecting it, making sure that I have the connections together at the seams. Okay, and I'm going to fold the sleeve in and do the same to the back. And two things I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on holding that sleeve in to make sure that it doesn't peek through. And the second focus is to put the pin in there. So because I put the pin in there, it's kind of snug and it's tugging with the sleeve. But all I care about is making sure that I have the fabric straight, that there's no bulges in there, that it's not gathered or stuck. Okay, and here's the other side. It's easy and it's slick. So now what I'm going to do is give myself, if I give myself two fingers worth, it's going to be okay. But we're going to give ourselves 3 fingers until you know how much room you need. And I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to give me 3 fingers. So I'm going to start from here and sew it. And I'm going to leave an opening so that I can flip it over. All right, I'm going to take my pin that was holding onto the area. You might want to put and do a little testing to make sure you don't have the sleeve in there. Because what you want to do is just sew it and get this through. And okay, since I'm here, do it while you're here. Otherwise, you may forget. When you fold, you're going to have a little a bulge along the edges. So I went ahead and clipped it. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. This is the side that's a little bit more stuck because the pin is actually holding the sleeve. So it looks like it's bulgy, but it's not. So I'm going to start with the satin part up because I do not want it to move, and it's easier to manage and watch. Because if you have the satin part on the bottom, trust me, it will move. So now I'm going to do this. Okay, and see how much satin and lining feathers away. So I'm going to clip those little pieces, all this little thread, and we're ready to fold it out. So if you find that you didn't give yourself enough room, here's our little sleeve. You can open up the seams, but it's going to be more that you need to sew. So try what you gave yourself. Try with that room and see how easy that was to flip it out. And now I'm going to get the scissors and gently tug on the side. You know what? I don't think I cut the other side. See? Now I'm doubting myself. No. Or yes, I did. Okay, there's that side. And let's see this side. Did I cut this? No, I didn't. See? Let's cut it. I have to follow my own advice. Shame on me. All right, so now I know both sides are trimmed. So we're going to gently give us a good little corner area and gently look for the top corner. This one is a little bit more involved with all the darts that are in the top. And now we're going to do the other side. Gently look for the material to fold it through. Okay. Because once you close it, it won't be as easy as having your tool, your scissors, or your rod, your metal pieces, or your stick to fold it out. So here it is, so cute. And here is our lining. So since I have my needle and thread, I'm going to quickly do this. And I need to do it because we have lining there, and that lining is moving. So I want to keep it thin. So I'm going to separate my needle and thread and just sew it with one thread. So I don't want to add any extra. So I separated it, and I'm going to put my needle in between. And I do believe that this is, oops, sorry. I do believe that this is light blue, but since we have such a small little area to do, we're just going to do very quick little basting. All right. Oh my goodness. It's a very long piece of thread. I'm just pulling it now because it was not being helpful. So I am straightening up the thread, making sure that it doesn't have any little stuck little loops in there. All right, so now we're going to get the ball rolling here. I'm just doing it enough to get the two pieces together. This is something normally that I do off camera, but I cannot give this lining an inch. I'm going to change the threading a little bit here, the way I'm doing it. Where is it here? I'm taking some large strokes here. Three more. Okay. I had to do that because it since it's so long, it got stuck to the the handle of the scissors. There it is. Look, it's trying to peek out there. And the suit's going to be a little bit puffy until I press it down. So when I put it on Barbie, it will look puffy. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to knot it together. And do the knot for my next use. Okay, so one pin out. And we are quickly going to work with the, I'm going to put it here. We're going to quickly work with the skirt. So here is our skirt. And this is the piece that I showed you in the beginning. And yes, this is exactly our fold. So we're putting the, where you can see where the raw edge is, we're going to go ahead and sew it. And we're going to sew it right around here. And what I'm gonna need to do is use the serger around the edge and the bottom. So I'm going to do it the other way around now. And this is what I'm going to finish off camera. But I'm going through the motions. And I'm just going to go ahead and do like a really quick raw. I folded the side, and I folded the top rim. So let's do it on this side so you can see what I did. So this is where the connection is going to go. I would have, and I'm going to fold it in. I fold both pieces together, and I'll show you why I did that. After the video, after this, I'm going to take it apart and put the serger in it. So right here, I would sew over here, and this is why I did the fold. So that we can have this connection over here in the back. So I'm going to hold it with the pin. And I'm going to hold it with the pin here so that I can give you a visual and then finish it off away from the camera. So I'm going to sew over here, and this is what the back looks. And the good thing about the video is that you can go ahead, pause, and return. So what I'm doing now is I'm just holding it to show that I did the fold and it looks finished here. And that's the back. And here is our front. So we're going to get a suit for Barbie. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments. And thank you for sharing, which is going to be helping my channel grow. Tomorrow we're going to be working on a gold metallic or silver metallic suit. And I'm going to be working my finishing touches for the On the Avenue, my own pattern. So I'm gonna finish the pattern, and I might use that for our sewing for tomorrow with a different cotton fabric. That's going to be our test run. And I'm going to be working on the belt. It's an idea that I have, so I'm gonna work on it and see how that works out. But look how the darts look over here, right above the bust. Very pretty. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Uh, be safe. Have a great day. Bye.